A good ball played in for Tony Morley. Oh, he's missed it! It is! Nick away! Villa in the lead!
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to the Villa Forever podcast. I am your host, Chad Williams. Please subscribe and give this video the thumbs up. Make sure to smash the like button. I am joined by my show regular, Aaron Thornton, who is the host of the Football Brief. This is the match preview. And on Saturday, it finished Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 1, and Marcus Asensio scored a brace, getting a 90th minute winner as well. And this is an absolutely vital win for our season. And now it put us in the mix in that Champions League race. I'll be doing the pre-match talk show, Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. And last week was a great week for Aston Villa and Unai Emery. And we drew against Premier League leaders, Liverpool 2-2, and a 2-1 victory against Chelsea. And now the season's getting very interesting. We are about 2 points behind fourth place, and performances have definitely been more consistent. The last time we played Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park was a 5-0 defeat last year, but Aston Villa at that point were on the beach and they were celebrating after qualifying for Champions League. And Selhurst Park hasn't been the happiest of hunting grounds for Aston Villa in recent seasons, but we should feel confident going into the next game. Great to have you on the show, mate. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me, Chad. It's as always, it's a pleasure to be on here with you and a privilege. I wholly agree with what you just said about the season is now hotting up, and we're in for a pretty crazy last part of the season. I feel looking forward to it.
We really are looking forward to as well. You look at that Premier League table now, and if it gets interesting, and also Man City, yesterday Liverpool beat them 2-0. So a lot of pressures on them. And it's getting like a little bit of a miniature league for that European football race.
Yeah. Were you a bit like me yesterday and secretly cheering on Liverpool? Because I didn't realise how close Man City were to us. So I thought, well, if Liverpool beat them here, then that makes life a lot.
That's a good result.
Better for us. Yeah. No, you're right. Mini league. So I think the battle for European place is hotting up, and to be honest, I think that's the only real battle, because I know the relegation is pretty much sorted. The top of the table is pretty much sorted in terms of Liverpool and the title, and then like you say, it's sort of between that 3rd down to 10th, maybe. I think it's pretty wild.
Like that,
yeah. No,
but the teams below us, you got the likes of Brentford, and also winning as well, like Brighton are up there.
Yeah,
that's how low it goes.
And you've got down below them, you've got Tottenham and Manchester United, which is we're in some like parallel universe, aren't we? Some multiverse is happening. It's like, what is going on? Yeah. But it's good for the league.
That Newcastle result, it weren't the greatest result for Villa. But the thing is, though, at Newcastle, though, they can be got at. The Forest going to a scare. Go a good scare towards the end.
Spot on, yeah. I agree. I think a draw would have been better, but the good thing is as well is that we play them both So we play a lot in the last few games. We play the team sort of around us. So we've got some big games coming up. It's exciting. It's nerve wracking, but for a Villa fan, it's very exciting. So I'm looking forward to them.
The question is, well, with Nottingham Forest, it'd be interesting what's going to happen with them. When they start to fall down, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'm still convinced they're gonna drop off. I feel like they could end up sort of seventh, eighth. I do believe that, and then the likes of Newcastle, Villa. I even think Bournemouth might slip. I just think we're going to be in for a few twists and turns yet. So it's exciting times, mate.
And you get top five. Top five gets you Champions League.
Yeah,
As it stands at the moment.
Yeah, so we've just got to aim for fifth, which is I think realistic for us still. We just need to. I know we say this all the time, and it's a bit cliche, but every game now we just need to go in and really.
The cup final.
Yeah, exactly. Cup final.
So let's talk about the Chelsea game.
Yes,
so Oliver's there. So what do you think of that? What's your thoughts?
Truthfully, after the first half, I was getting ready to I had my thumbs on my phone ready, and I was getting ready to send like a really passive aggressive tweet or X, whatever you want to call it, because I don't know what you thought the first half. I mean, the first half we were dreadful, but I just thought we were so narrow, and I thought Chelsea wingers were just having an absolute field day. So that really frustrated me. But then, Villa being Villa, we got back into it, and it was really nice to get a late winner. I feel like the last couple of games at home, we've had chances to sort of win the game, and we've not taken it. So it was really good to have that chance and take it.
We showed so much character.
Yeah, we did. What was it like from your end and being there and feeling it and seeing it? Like, was it just electric?
Oh yeah, actually, well, that's typical. I actually got out the stadium when Asensio scored the winner.
Yeah.
It was in. I could hear everyone cheering. It's sort of relief. It felt like. I think this result as well. It's a season-changing result. In terms of our season, I don't think it's all about gaining momentum.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you're exactly right. I think it's a game-changing moment in our season. I think it's also great that the new signings seem to have settled. Garcia, Marlon, Asensio, Rashford, all of those players look good in their own right. And also, let's not forget, I also think that it's the right time as well now, because we've got a lot of injured players. I think they're starting to come back. I think Barkley's close, Anana's close, Torres is on his way. So it couldn't have been a better time for them to come back as well. So I'm hoping we can really galvanise and just push for this last part now.
And things now as well, they're all looking very positive. The thing is, though, I think in the next few games, even if we draw, let's say win a few, as long as we don't lose, keep getting points.
Yeah,
it all builds up then.
Mate, you're so right, and this is what I thought. I know the Ipswich result was disappointing, and Liverpool was good in the end, but I'm exactly like you. In my head, I was like, well, this league this season, anybody is beating anybody. People are dropping points. Like Bournemouth and Newcastle aren't certain. Forest aren't certain to have that position. They've got it at the minute, but if we just keep accumulating points, whether it's a draw or a win, obviously wins are better, But I totally agree with you, mate. I think as long as we win or draw, it just adds to it, and we start to build. Just don't lose that momentum.
Does it? As long as we don't lose, that's the thing. Just don't lose.
Also, as well, like our home record now is pretty immense, isn't it? I think.
Oh yeah, we've got a good record at home.
I think we're unbeaten now in, I want to say, 15 home games. 14
yeah, that's pretty good. That's a good record.
So it's good that we've got that behind us as well. So the omens are there. Like we just got to go and do our thing.
And the
Yeah.
beliefs there now.
The league's there. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to start believing.
Yeah.
And also
Agreed.
the first half, I was quite worried in the first half. It's got a frustrating half. I think we lacked sort of that spark. There wasn't really no creativity.
Yeah.
There was not much energy, but Chelsea did really well to frustrate us in that first half.
Yeah, no. What did you? I mean, look. I'm not a tactician, and I know there's people on other podcasts who are much more better than me at this. But I don't know if you agree, Chad. The first half, like when I say narrow, I just mean that like Neto and Nkunku,
Oh yeah,
Reece James to a point, and their left back Gusto were
yeah,
just having a field day. And I just kept thinking, like, I appreciate it's the way that we're playing, but I was like, can we maybe just change it up a bit because we're getting rinsed here.
yeah.
So I don't know if that's how you saw it or you
Yeah,
understand it.
I feel that
Mm.
as well.
Yeah,
I mean, and Enzo Maresca, he tactically got it right. And every time Chelsea went forward, the counter-attack in the wide areas, they're not really dangerous with Pedro Neto.
yeah,
Ex
he's a
ex
problem.
Wolfsburg.
Yeah, I thought that I was thinking, why is he he seems banged up for this, and then it dawned on me. Obviously, he's ex Wolves, so
Yeah.
he's going to be a lot more up for it than most. Um, I thought as well, Enzo Fernandez for them.
Yeah.
He's a good player, but he's so
He's
annoying.
quality. Yeah.
He was playing the villain, the pantomime villain, quite well, wasn't
Oh
he?
yeah, he's sort of annoying.
I think did he shush the
Yeah.
whole end when he scored?
Do you think he did?
Yeah, I saw something like that, and I was like, "You're cheeky, you are." I don't mind a bit of personality, but
And
he annoyed me.
when Pedro Neto, when he put a low cross into him, the Villa defenders just switched off. At that point, I think we just switched off.
Yeah, I don't want to single anybody out, but I'm going to. I didn't think Matson had a great game. I was
Defensively struggled.
Yeah, and I don't think he offered much offensively because Chelsea were applying the pressure that much. Look, I'm glad he got the 90 minutes. I think it's important for him, and I think it was important for Digne to have a rest with Palace coming up. I do think Digne will start against Palace, but I thought Martson struggled a bit.
Because I prefer Luca Digne. Well, as our first choice left back. Digne's our first choice.
Yeah, no, totally, and you got to respect the squad rotation because we've got games coming thick and fast. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
important to rotate and keep fresh legs. And Digne's that bit older now, isn't he? So I agree with you. I think Digne's by far our best left back, but I was glad that Martin got the minutes in the end for him. But he
He
just
needs to
needs,
get more minutes under his belt.
yeah. Uh, Tyro Mings,
Oh
what do you
yeah,
think?
Mings. I did feel a bit sorry for him as if, but the injury seemed to really affect these injuries. Seemed to really affect Mings. I think slowly it's going to take him time. I mean, you put in some good tackles, but the thing I'd say is maybe like moving the ball around a bit slow and predictable, maybe.
I think that's a very, very fair assessment. Predictable is definitely a word I would use. He doesn't look right. I think if he can sort of just patch himself up from now
Yeah.
until the end of the season, if he can keep going along and just sort of play here and there, and then he gets the pre-season underneath him and gets the warm weather, gets a lot more training done. I do think by the start of next season he'll be back to where he sort of was. You can't knock his effort or the way that he
He's
applies
tries.
himself. He's such. I think he's a legend. I do love Tyro Mings. I really do respect him. And I don't think the injury will keep him back for too long.
Yeah.
But I just think he's obviously been used more than Unai would have wanted him to. I think because of our injuries,
Yeah.
he sort of had to throw him in. And, Mings being Mings, fair to him, there's a lot of players that would just be like, do you know what? I'm not ready. I can't play. But he always steps up and plays, to be fair. But
I
I do
look at
think he
Mings
was a
as well.
weakness.
I like the way he just clears it.
Yeah.
You don't mess around. Great in the aerial, not in the air. I like it. His physicality, his height. And he's very vocal in that defence.
Yeah.
He's always talking.
He's also been with us. He's been with us from the championship through
With
to
McGinn.
yeah, with him and McGinn. Like I'll always have that love and respect for them both. And I just think I see some people start bashing him on Twitter and stuff, and I just think it's unfair. I think he definitely was a bit of a weakness on Saturday, but let's not forget he's sort of putting his body on the line a bit here. So just wanted to get that in there.
And Mings, I really hope that we keep him. But, I hope he stays.
Yeah, I think he will. I think, again, I think it all depends on how he gets on from now to the end of the season and then gets his pre-season. I think unless a crazy offer came in for him, which is like, I say crazy. I mean, he's getting on a bit now, isn't he? And I think you're not going to get multi millions, but if something came in which is decent, then I think maybe we would. Which would be sad. I'd like him to see his career out of Villa. I really would, but we'll see. We'll see.
And going back to Ian Matson,
Yeah.
another thing that I analysed from the game, he couldn't really get much crosses in. Every time he sort of passed it, he couldn't get a cross in the box.
I think as well. I think you were right because watching Ian Matson in like other games, he gets forward a lot and does cross a fair bit. But I think, like you said at the start of the show, like credit to Maresca because clearly that was something they identified and they completely they nullified him. And obviously they know him as well. He's an ex-Chelsea boy. So yeah, that definitely, they definitely put a stop to that, which didn't help. So yeah, he struggled, but he came through the 90 minutes, and that'll do his confidence the world of good. And
He just needs that end product.
Yeah, he does. He does.
That's all he needs.
Look, he's young, and an Unai Emery system, it can take a while to really get into. So he'll come good. I'm sure of it.
I mean, that's the other thing at Chelsea. We couldn't really get the ball off them in the first half. But second half, we were so much better. But Emery's talk worked in the dressing room. We showed more intensity.
Yeah, it was certainly a game of two halves, and I think the substitutions made. That's one thing with Emery. Like we can never knock him for. He'll see a moment in the game, and he'll think, "I need to change that," and he's not afraid to. Yeah, he's not afraid to put subs on, and I think the subs that he put. I mean, Rashford coming on at half time was. I actually thought when Ramsey came off. I thought in the first half, Ramsey was one of our better players. I wouldn't say he was a well beater, but I thought if something's going to happen, it might be him. So when he came off, I was a bit like, oh, I don't know. And then it was completely proved right. So fair play to Emery for that.
I was really impressed when Donya Marner and Leon Bailey came on.
Yeah.
They're real impact as well.
I really like Marlon. I think he's going to be a really good player for us. It's a shame that he missed out on the Champions League squad, but I think he's just got that like explosive energy, hasn't he? Like he looks powerful. And I think once he gets into the team a bit more consistently, I think he's going to be a real threat for us going forward.
And Donya Marner, he's got so much pace. And he gives you something different. In that forward line. It's like energy as well.
Yeah. Energy, tenacity. He's not afraid to shoot. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he's had one goal disallowed, hasn't he? So he's certainly looks like a talent, and I agree as well. Just touching on your point a minute ago, Leon Bailey. I've got to give a shout out to Bailey because I think he's had a really bad season, hasn't he, on the whole?
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
those 20 minutes, he really, really, sort of made Chelsea defenders think. So him and Marlon coming on as I mean, what a bench! Marlon and
Oh,
Bailey
yeah.
coming on
Oh, brilliant.
we're so lucky to have these players. So I thought they were both very, very impactful.
Come on, look about our bench. There's some real good options. It's very exciting to see. And that sort of bench changes games. It's useful for Emery to have that.
And that's what we saw, wasn't it? We saw that Rashford coming on at half time. Not long after, Garcia came on. I thought Garcia was good again. Bogard, wow! Bogard yet again was asked to fill in for Tyrone Mings when he came off injured, and yet again he stepped up and looks. Every time I see Bogard step onto the pitch, he just improves. Like he keeps going up the levels, and he's in different
Good shit.
positions. I really thought Bogard stepped up, and I really want to single him out as probably as much as Rashford changed the game, Bogard really helped us defensively and also making passes. Like he just did the simple things. So yeah, impactful subs that definitely won us the game, and they all played a part.
And that strong bench, that could be the difference at the end of the season. It could completely change the season.
Yeah, you think, I know we'll touch on the Palace game later on, but you think in a game like that, and if we're struggling, it's like, Unai has the luxury now of looking to the bench and he has attacking options that he can choose from and look to. And so it's sort of mouth-watering from that point of view. It's like, wow, we have these attacking players change the game. But also it's important that we get Onana, Barkley back because Tielemans and McGinn have been putting in shifts. They've been putting in shifts. And I think...
I was going to say about John McGinn. A massive shout out John McGinn.
Yeah.
I mean, he was absolutely magnificent. But all in all, very competitive. And he battled really well for the whole game.
I even made a little note actually. I've put John McGinn was, I think it was the same against Liverpool. When he's on form and when he's at his tenacious best, he is our tempo setter. And I thought the first half, I wouldn't say he struggled, but I thought Fernandes, Caicedo were really giving him a challenge. But then I thought the second half, he absolutely bullied them both, and it reminded me of a Roy Keane performance from back a day. Like he just seemed like he had that bit of aggression, and there was a good battle between him and Caicedo. They were giving fouls here and there. There was a bit of a Vieira sort of Roy Keane vibe about it, and I think and what I loved about it, there were some tackles flying in, but after the game, I saw them, all shaking hands and stuff, and it was like, that's what football is, man. Like that's what I remember growing up watching football. The likes of you, Roy Keane's, Vieiras.
The 90s.
Do you know what I mean?
The 90s player.
Yeah. So I think John McGinn was an absolute colossal engine on Saturday, and he was another.
He made some great passes.
Yeah. When I'm watching, when you're watching him in real time, does he like, because he looks quite fast on the TV. Like I know he's not the fastest, but like the way, because like 1 minute he's there on the pitch and the next minute he's over there. Like when you watch him, does he just sort of run around like a bit of a madman?
I mean, he covered every blade of the grass.
Yeah.
He runs his socks off. That's what he does. I mean, he actually just runs his socks off.
Yeah, I thought he was immense. He really was. I mean, him and Tielemans together, but McGinn specifically was just. I mean, Tielemans is always great. Tielemans is
Oh, yeah, class.
probably my player of the season so far. I think
I've
Tielemans has
always
been.
rated him. Even his Leicester days, I've always rated Tielemans.
No, he was great for Leicester. He's been good for Belgium. Do you know what's mad as well? That the two midfielders that we're speaking about, John McGinn and Yuri
Oh, yeah.
Tielemans, they cost us 2.5 million.
It's a bargain.
Like, wow. I mean, what business that is?
And I want to make a point about Marco Asensio. The whole 90 minutes, he's brilliant. He's a joy to watch. I'm thinking Marco Asensio, he shows his true quality. And I think with him in the team, it makes us better. We've upgraded the team.
Yeah. I actually thought I didn't think he had up until the goals. I didn't think he was
Yeah.
having the best of games. I didn't really, I
Yeah.
thought nobody was, in all fairness, until the second half. But I thought if anybody was going to get subbed off at half time, I thought it might be him, to be honest. But
Yeah.
the way, like you just said, then the upgrade. You think the last person we had before him in that position was Emi Buendia, who I rate highly, but the levels, the Asensio's levels above
It's
Buendia.
another level.
He has this habit of just being able to find these pockets of space, like he sort of ghosts into space without players realizing. And his vision to pick a pass is pretty
Yeah.
incredible. So I think he's only going to keep growing, getting match fit. And I think, he took both of his goals really well. And I don't know if you've heard any interviews since, the way he speaks, and like he just seems like a really nice guy, and he seems
Yeah.
genuinely buzzing to be at the Villa, and wearing the shirt, and that makes me proud as a Villa fan to think,
That's
wow,
what you want.
somebody like Asensio is proud to be here. And I was really impressed with his goals, and I thought what he didn't do was give up. He wasn't having the best of games, but he kept going,
Yeah.
and that's a sign of a real elite player.
Oh, yeah, his ability. So on the ball, and his movement as well. And in that game, I mean, he made a real difference. He deserved those 2 goals. He worked hard.
Yeah, he did work hard, and he sort of reminded me a bit of a Lampard. You know how Lampard used to get into the box, used to break the lines, run into the box and get the goals. Very similar to that, and I have to give him a shout out as well, because I think from as a role model, I heard him speaking in the week before the Chelsea game, and Garcia made that mistake against Liverpool, obviously fellow Spanish teammate. And Asensio was like, I'd never heard of Garcia before going to Villa, but I've spoken to him about the mistake, and I've said, look, it happens. I've made plenty of mistakes in my career, and I just thought, wow, like if you're Garcia as a young Spanish player come from the second
Something to
division,
look
you're
up
now
to.
playing with you're now playing with Asensio, who you've probably looked up to, and he's giving you advice. Like what a great role model that is, and I just think we need characters and players like him in the dressing room. It's so important. So full credit to Asensio. Well done to him.
And Asensio, when he was at Real Madrid, he won 3 Champions Leagues. That shows what a sort of player that we've just signed.
It's the Unai Emery effect, isn't it?
He's like pulling power, that's it.
That pulling power, yeah. You were saying this the other week. It's true. It's true, man. It works.
And I was very quickly, I was going to say, on an offside decision, that they were checking it. But I didn't think it was, I didn't look offside anyway.
I was going to say, because it's obviously different sometimes when you're in the stadium to when you're watching it at TV, on TV, sorry. So when I was watching it, like clear as day, he was onside. So when they were faffing about taking, 3,000 years to make this decision, I was like, I'm getting frustrated at home. What
Takes
was it
too
like?
long.
What was it like for you in the stand? So you just said then that you knew he wasn't offside. Was it that? Did they show the lines on the screen or not?
They did show it, but it took so long. In the crowd, we're all getting agitated.
I'm
Like,
not
we just want an
surprised.
answer. Okay.
I'm not surprised. You know where you were sitting. Was it? Were you? I'm trying to think. Was it where you were sitting? Was Rashford where you were, or was that like? Was it the opposite side?
Yeah, I think it was, but then
Oh, okay.
I didn't see it until the replay. But from what I could see, he did look offside.
Yeah. No, he. I don't know. It was almost as if that they were trying to find like that was clear that he wasn't, and then it felt like they were trying to find something else. It was like, what are you trying to look for here? But that annoyed me. I thought the ref actually, just on the ref, um, I thought he had a poor game
It
personally.
shook him.
I'm not a massive fan. Is it Michael Oliver?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I'm not a
yeah.
big fan of him. He just has this sort of arrogance about him, and look, I know we always say we need to respect referees, and I do respect them, but I'm going to call out a bad performance if I see one, just as I would with a player. And I thought Michael Oliver had a bad performance on Saturday. We were
Did he
lucky that we
get
won.
given as well? 3 kicks for no reason. But the Chelsea
Yeah,
one didn't even touch them.
yeah, it was so stop, start, stop, start. I
So
was like, just let the game play, man. Let it flow.
I think that's the whole point. You gotta have it competitive.
Also, just on the ref, sorry, Chad, that the penalty shout on Bogard. Did you that was a stonewall penalty in my eyes?
Oh, it should have been given. Yeah, there's no
I,
consistency.
yeah, it's like they want to spend
Referee.
half an hour looking at a decision that was obvious, and then they don't want to take any time to look at something that looks like it is actually a penalty. I don't know. It just
Look at United game. Well, they got off with that right at the end. Everton should have had a
yeah.
penalty.
To be fair, and I do love Ashley Young. He's one of my all-time Villa greats.
Yes.
I do think he dived slightly. I'm not gonna. I can't.
A
I
slight dive,
can't.
that's what you think. Yeah.
I do think he exaggerated that. Like I could have seen it if it was given. I would have understood it. If there was a bit of a pull on the shirt, but I
Yeah.
do think he made the most of it. To be honest, I saw you, Ashley Young. I saw you.
Yeah. Let's talk about Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
So again, what do you expect for the Crystal Palace game?
First and foremost, I just want to say, like, out of all the London clubs and teams, I really do like Crystal Palace. I have a lot of admiration and respect for Crystal Palace. It was actually, I'm trying to think, I think it was the last away ground that I went to before I moved out here, and really got on with the fans. Loved the stadium's very old and a bit sort of it needs a bit of maintenance, but it's just very homely for them.
Traditional.
I know there is some sort of history between Villa and Palace. I also like Simon Jordan on TalkSport. I quite like him a lot. So I
Oh
like
yeah,
Crystal
I
Palace.
listen
Yeah.
to it
So
quite a lot.
yeah. I've got a lot of respect for them. Answer to your question, I think it's going to be a very tough game. I think if we want to come away from Selhurst Park with 3 points, we need to be bang at it. We need to be on it for 90 plus minutes, 95 minutes, whatever. And we can't really afford any slip ups because I think Palace are sort of hitting that time of the season where they decide that they're just going to start beating everybody. And I know you made the point at the top of the show that last season, we were on the beach. We it was a bit of a nothing game for us. However, that will still be on some of the players' minds who did play. So I expect a tough game. I really do.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be a good contest. Also, as well, Selhurst Park. The atmosphere is always great.
Yeah.
I really like their fan base.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like a tricky ground to go to. I
It's
got a
one of
memory
those.
for when we played them. Remember the Steven
Yeah.
Gerrard era?
Yes.
I remember
Yes.
that. I remember that victory.
John McGinn scored, and was it Ramsey? Who was the other one? I know John McGinn scored in that
It's
game.
something like that. I can't
Was
remember
that,
exactly. It's 3-1.
It's like is it a 2-1 or a 3-1? Yeah. You're
3-1,
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
And
yeah.
McGinn did his dry mark celebration.
Yes. I can't do that. But that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and Selhurst Park, you're right. It's a great stadium, and it's one of those tight stadiums, isn't it? Like you feel like the fans are on top of you. Do
Oh,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? So it's going to be really tough, mate. And I think I think we're going to have to be at our best as we are. There's some games you can sort of get through, but I do feel like Palace at the minute they're a threat, especially going forward with the likes of Mateta, Eze.
Dangerous
Is it
on the attack.
is it Sa? Yeah,
So, very dangerous. They've got a very good attack.
a very good attack. I mean, we've got a good attack as well, but I do think at home as well, they're especially a threat, Palace. So it's going to be tricky. Who's the other one? They've got Eze and Mateta. Is it
Yeah,
Sa?
yeah, it
Sa?
might be something like that, I think, yeah.
And
That's it.
they've got
So,
their midfielder who's been injured. Is it Wharton? Adam Wharton?
yeah, that's good. He
Yeah,
was in the England squad.
yeah, I like him as well. I don't know if he's going to play, but I do like him. They've got a good squad, man. Palace. Their defense has been quite good this season, so we need to just keep a clean sheet. Like if we can do one
It'd be
thing,
nice. We can celebrate when we do.
I know we said this, didn't we? When we still haven't kept a clean sheet, we can really we can go mad. But
Well, I'm going to say about Palace are good at home. Also, I did see a stat as well. The away form's improved as well. That they won their 4 previous away games. So, they are sort of improving at both.
at both, yeah, yeah. I feel like this is just like Palace are very. Again, I like them. I just think they're quite predictable. They always seem to start the season quite poorly, and
That's it.
then they all of a sudden sort of mid to end of the season they just turn it on and become this like mid-table like team that's just hard to beat and break down. So yeah, their form away has improved, their form at home, although I think they got beat recently. Did Fulham beat them at home recently? I want to say they
And then,
did.
well, Palace beat them, I think.
Or was it Palace beat them? I thought
Yeah,
somebody beat
2-1.
beat Palace at home, which I didn't
Somebody else
expect.
it might have been, I think, yeah.
So I mean, like they're definitely they're vulnerable, but they're gonna think that they can take us on because we are a bit flaky this season, and based on last season's result, they're going to expect that okay, we can take Villa on. They're going to try and expose our high line especially. So
Oh, yeah.
we need to just make sure that we don't make the same mistakes that we did in the first half against Chelsea, because they've got some good attacking players in those wide positions. So. Yeah, we'll see, but I'm expecting a very tough game.
And from a Villa point of view, this is a must-win game. Because I think with this game, we can put pressure on the sides above us. In Man City, like, as a Man City fan, I'd feel worried. Because
Yeah,
anybody now can catch Man City. And to get in those Champions League places, so I think it's crucial, this game.
yeah, it goes back to what you were saying about every game as a cup final. I think if we win tomorrow, we can temporarily go fourth, depending on results. I think we can like temporarily.
Depends on
Um,
results, that's it.
Obviously, we've got this game in hand because we played Liverpool early, but we've just got to keep. What we've got to try and do now is which is hard. Just focus on our game, win our games, get our points. Don't worry about anybody else. Do what we've got to do, and like you say, just see these games through. Because one thing I do worry about, Chad, is our goal difference at the minute. Still,
Yeah.
like
It's not great.
it's starting to look quite tight in those spaces. So if it's going to be that we're on the same points as as other teams, well, our goal difference is shot, and it'd be so frustrating if we got into like fourth or fifth, but
Yeah.
we lost out on goal difference. That would be really frustrating for me. So look, there's still time to get some goals. Like, if we can get a couple games here, like with a 4 or a
Yeah.
5. But again, I go back to it. We need to keep clean sheets. We really need to. That needs to be the basis of our,
Well,
like.
we spoke about it last week and the previous show
Yeah,
about that it could come down to goal difference.
it really could. It really could, and I'm starting to see that the more and more this season goes on, and the more and more that teams are dropping points and people are beating each other, I'm like, this could really happen. So I don't know. Yeah, we just attacking wise, we've got it. We've got the players, but defensively, and I know we've had injuries, and I get that, but
Yeah.
again, Chelsea, it was their first shot on target, Chad. Their first
Oh
shot.
yeah, they'll
It's
say that on the radio.
it's just becoming really, and he must. I mean, Unai Emery knows this. He must be tearing his hair out. Like,
Mhm.
he's not like he's not noticing it. It's not like he's not trying to correct
And
this.
it keeps happening.
Exactly, it keeps happening. So, yes, it's another cup final. It's going to be tough, but I have faith.
Yeah.
I have faith.
I got to believe. I do really believe. As a Villa fan, we should be really confident. In the last 16 in the Champions League, we're still in the FA Cup, and there's still a chance of finishing the Champions League again.
Do you know what, Chad?
I'm very happy.
Mate, that's such a lovely dose of perspective. You're right. Like, we got a nice FA Cup tie on, is it Friday against Cardiff?
Cardiff
The
City, yeah.
return of Anwar El Ghazi. Are you going to that?
No, I didn't get tickets for that one. I'm
Well,
probably getting on the next one though.
yeah. I think that'll be really nice to see Al Ghazi come back, and I just think, again, a real good chance to progress in that competition. You're right. Champions League, I know we'll touch on it a bit later on, but I think we've had a favourable draw, possibly. I mean, no draw is easy, but I do think Club Brugge, I do think, gives us an opportunity. And then and our Premier League form it's not bad, but thankfully other teams are also helping us a bit. So it's a good dose of perspective you offer. I think we've got to be proud of what we've done this season, and in my mind, we haven't even really like kicked it up the gears yet.
Yeah.
I still feel like we've got a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
more to give. I feel like we've really not been at our best
There's
for the
more to
majority
come.
of the season. Yeah, so it's exciting, but I want to sort of like caution it with a bit of just
Take it each
like
game at a time.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to these last few games, but yeah, Palace tomorrow. If we can, because like there's no point beating Chelsea and then going to Palace and losing. Like,
And losing, yeah.
you got to follow it up, man. So
Look it up.
what do you make of the Palace manager?
I do like him. They just need to give him more time, I think. I like his decent coach.
I saw there was a stat that was going around last week, and Crystal Palace put this out. Their club put this out. That Glasner is I think he's got the most or the highest win rate in the time that he's been there, like ever.
That's good.
So, like, Palace fans really like him, and do you know what? Especially, I don't think it's gone to plan this season for Palace, but I do think at the back end of last season, we were starting to see them. Like, Palace have always been that like mid to bottom
Bottom
half
half.
club, haven't they? But like, I felt like last season, especially, Glasner took them to that next level, which they've been trying to get to for a while. And I think
he will.
and I still think, exactly. I agree. I still think he's that manager. I still think he will. I just think Palace struggle with, we're very lucky with the owners that we've got and the money that we've got and the way that we can wheel and deal and get players in. I do think that's the only thing with Palace is that they struggle financially in terms of buying players, because what they do is they'll get players through or they'll grow players and then they sell them. So it's I think that's probably their barrier really, where they sort of struggle to push through. But I think with a manager like
Yeah.
Glasner, I do think he can take them to that like top 10 level.
He needs to build the team.
Yeah, yeah. And I think they'll give him
I mean,
time.
yeah,
I've seen no reason why they would get rid of him. I think he's doing a really good job, and I think Palace fans like him to what I can gather. So yeah, I think he's a good manager.
if you look for example, I mean, let's use Brentford as an example.
Yeah,
I mean, Thomas Frank. I mean, look what a great job he's done with Brentford. And the guy in time, and look how well they're doing that right now.
that's a very good point, Chad. I really like Thomas Frank. I've got a lot of time for him. I actually saw. I don't know if you haven't seen this on Sky Sports
Yeah,
on like their YouTube page. They've got like a behind the scenes
okay.
access. It's like a half an hour episode about Brentford and Thomas Frank, and they're sort of following him around on like a normal day
Interesting.
training and stuff. Give it a watch, mate. It's really good. And again,
I'll
Thomas Frank
watch
just
it.
comes across like a really cool guy. And it's a good point. I think he's been with them, since 2018, I think.
Yeah, I just think
When
you
Dean
have a
Smith left, right?
structure in place.
Yeah.
Then he built a team.
Yeah. Just a very
Use the
nice,
academy and the academy.
yeah. Very nice community club, very nice culture there. And I think Brentford and Palace for me are like what you want, very good examples of what a nice community ran sort of club is, and having a nice culture around the place. I look at those two clubs and think, yeah, you've got it right there. You know, you've got a nice fan base, you do a lot of stuff in the community, and yeah, just nice clubs. And I'm not massively fond on all these London clubs, but I do think Palace, Brentford are just definitely those clubs that
Okay.
I do admire.
And
Yeah.
also got Palace. They got a lot of pace in the attack. I mean, I like that Munoz. He's been playing really well.
He's their left
But
back, right?
yeah, we need to watch out for him.
Yeah.
And I mean, going to the guy from Villa point of view, the substitutions can work again. For Villa in the game tomorrow.
Couldn't agree more. I think what's his name? Munoz?
Munoz, that's it, Munoz, yeah.
Munoz. Sorry, Palace fans. Yeah, I like him. I like their centre back. Is it Lacroix?
Yeah, oh yeah, he's decent.
I like him. I think he's been a good replacement because they lost. Was it Anderson to Fulham? I think he's been a good replacement. They've got a nice team. Obviously, we know they're attacking threat, but I agree. I think we need to, nullify those sort of wide areas for them because they're going to be a threat. And Mateta as well. I don't know who's playing centre. Oh, Disasi's back. So Disasi,
That's good
I'm
news.
sure they're both French as well. So I'm sure they're going to have a bit of a battle with each other because I'm pretty sure Conter and Disasi will start together. It's going to be a contest. Who would you, in terms of starting lineup? I mean, you don't need to go through the whole 11. I mean, you can if you want, but who do you think? Who do you think is going to start? Like just a couple of sort of figures. Who do you think should start against Palace?
Well, as in defence or just the whole team?
Yeah, you can go sort of like maybe a player in each position, like a player in midfield, a player in defence, a player in front. Who do you think
Well,
out of the
well,
squad, like
I
should be
would
starting?
personally think Digne will start. I think
Yeah,
for
I agree.
me, Digne has to start. Then you got Disasi
Yeah,
and Conte got Disasi.
yeah.
That was impressive in the last game. It gives you a good physical presence.
We haven't spoke about him, have we? That Liverpool game, he was good.
Oh, solid.
He was, yeah. So Digne, Disasi, Konza. Yeah, I agree with you so far.
Yeah, you also have Matty Cash. Would you go with Cash or Garcia? Yeah, that's the interesting one, I think. It's sort of like,
That's I didn't think Matty Cash had the best game against Chelsea. I will say though, once again, if you watch the first goal before the ball to Rashford, it was yet again a Matty Cash left-footed cross. He's done that like
Yeah.
3 times now. Like he's whipping these balls in with his left foot,
He does
and
do
he's
that.
like got 2 assists, and he's set up. So shout out to Mate Cash for that. I like Cash. I just
Maybe
think
start Cash.
maybe start Cash. I do think it's going to be physical. I think, yeah, maybe start Cash. Yeah, see how we get on. If it's looking like we need a bit more of a physical presence, we bring on Garcia. So yeah, okay, we'll say Cash, Disasi, Konza, Digne, Martinez, obviously. I'll agree with
Also,
that.
what McGinn, obviously,
Yep.
Euro tournaments.
Yep.
Then you got obviously Rogers.
Now it gets interesting. Yep.
I'll still keep it the same for the last guy. In terms of some of the other areas, maybe keep that bit the same, maybe. Start Asensio again.
Yep.
But you could do that, yeah. What was he, Rogers?
Do you think so I agree with you about Asensio. I if he hadn't scored the goals, I
Yeah.
would have maybe said give him a rest. But because he scored those 2 goals,
Because he
I do
scored,
think he's
yeah.
going to be, you talking about momentum and players' confidence. I do think he's going to be ready for it. So I think we should start him. Do you think we should rest Rodgers or start him on the bench?
Yeah, I think he has played a lot of minutes.
And
And I
he
think
came.
do with it.
He finished the game. He came off. He asked to be subbed because he had a bit of a knock, and I noticed that he had like an ice bag sort of over his knee or shin. I couldn't quite remember where it was, but on his leg. And I know Emery said he should be fine for Tuesday. But
Yeah.
do you think that he just needs a bit of a rest? Like even if he doesn't start the game, but maybe comes on later on.
Yeah,
Do you think
in this sort of game, yeah. You know what you could do? Start Rashford.
start
He
Rashford?
would,
I
he would,
think
yeah,
you should start Rashford.
yeah. The other thing, the reason why is one, I think, he was suiting the game against Crystal Palace. Because he's got the confidence making those runs. And he's got a lot of pace. And, and he can finish.
Totally agree. I totally agree. I think I'm so desperate for Rashford to get his first goal. I just
Oh,
want him.
yeah,
I
me
just
too.
want him. I feel like he's going to just feel so relieved. And I mean, I love the fact that he's got 2 assists, and every goal that we score, he celebrates like mad. He looks like he's just really part of the group, and I love to see it. McGinn, Tielemans, I agree with. Asensio, I agree with. Rodgers, possibly. I love Rodgers, so I'm happy if he starts. But I do think
Yeah.
if there is a chance we can rest him, unless he rests him for the cup game on
FA Cup,
Friday.
maybe. Yeah,
So maybe
you
start
could do it.
Rodgers, rest him in the FA Cup. So that's not a bad shout. And then, so would you say Rashford over Ramsey, and then who was on the right and up
Also,
front?
they're also going to have Watkins. Watkins up front.
Watkins. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Then we got the right, haven't we then?
yeah.
We got one more. When you go on the right.
Who started last? Who was it? No, wait. Was Rodgers on the right last week? It was no. It
Yeah,
was Asensio and Rodgers. They were both like 10s, weren't they?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So I guess I guess it'd be Rodgers, Asensio, Rashford,
Yes.
Watkins, right? Is that
Yeah, that's
11?
it, yeah.
I think that's 11, right? Altogether.
Yeah. Well, sure, yeah, I think we chose them, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
But yes,
We'll go with that.
something like that.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see how close we are with the when the squad comes out tomorrow. We'll see how close we are with our prediction.
So in Crystal Palace,
Yeah.
where do you think they'll end up at the end of the season?
I think, good question. I think Palace will end up, I think they'll be 10th. I want to say 10th or 11th. I would love them to be top 10. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm patronising them. I'm just trying to be realistic to where Palace could finish and where they, like sort of where they're at. And I think 10th is definitely reachable. They've got a lot of work to do, but I do
That'll
think
be an
10th.
achievement.
But I think 10th, if they sort of pick up the form that they did last season towards the end of the season, I think 10th is realistic for them. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go around about there, or between 10th No lower than 13th.
I think that's fair. Because you've got the likes of Tottenham seem to be picking up a bit now, and you never quite know with Manchester United what they're going to do, and Brentford, and so there could be. Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable prediction. Yeah,
The Bunnies just need to get more of their recruitment right, maybe, which they're recruiting well so far. Just need to add a bit more strength into their squad. And better defensively, I think.
yeah. I forget who they've got in their midfield. They've got Will Hughes, who's decent, solid player. Will Hughes.
Yeah, I like him, Will Hughes, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the days where we were linked with him back in the Paul Lambert days, I think. Is it not Decore? They've got somebody. They've got a decent squad. They've got a decent midfield. I think. Look, they're going to be tough.
Is it
Coyote, I think. Yes. I think
yeah.
That's the one. Look, one thing with Palace I've always thought is that they're quite a physical team. Like they can play football, but like they've also got a bit of presence about them. So I do think it's going to be a tough contest. So John McGinn's going to have to be back at it again, battling in there as he does. Yeah. So it's going to be. I'm looking forward to the game. I'm looking forward to watching it. I just really hope we don't concede with our first shot on target, and I hope that we can keep it clean sheet.
We'll be celebrating next week.
Honestly, mate, I'll have the party poppers and I'll have the little hat, and we'll have a full-on party about it. Yeah.
I'm sure Martinez will.
Yeah, he must be so frustrating. But I just think now, like, it has to be a focus. What we said earlier, like last few games. The fact that it's looking like we could all be on similar points. We have to make sure that goal difference is much better, because it'd be such a shame, and we'd all be so gutted if we missed out on a Champions League spot because of goal difference. It's it'd be tough. So
we're going to come to my last point.
Yeah.
So what did you make of the Champions League draw? Are you happy with Club Brugge?
Yeah, I am. And do you know why I am, Chad? I mean, I think it was between Dortmund and Brugge, wasn't it, really, in the end? And I think, look, we're going to face, eventually, the further we go, we're going to face teams that are going to be ridiculous. I think Dortmund, they're a fairly young team. The atmosphere they generate at their stadium, I think it would have been a real tough ask. It would have been a great experience. However, having Club Brugge, this is where I think having Unai Emery comes, into its own, because after being beaten there, I feel like Emery,
he'll take homework.
Exactly. I think he'll take a lot from that, and he'll think, right, I know what we did wrong and what we need to do to improve. Obviously, it was a freak thing how we lost that game.
He would have forget about that.
It was a bit of a freak accident. So, over two legs, I do think we have enough to beat Club Brugge. I really do. After that, it's going to be tough. Not that Club Brugge is going to be tough, don't get me wrong. But if we can get through that, which I believe we can, then you're talking real tough team. So I was happy with the draw, to be honest, mate. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think it's not a bad draw. I mean, obviously it's not the easiest we could have got. But I think, even a chance. In Club Brugge, though, they're a decent side. Because I did see in the Belgian league, the second in the Belgian league. So they're a good informed team. So it will be a test, I think.
But, they're no pushovers, and like I touched on before, the beauty this time around is that we've hopefully we'll have a lot of our injured players back, and we've got new players who hopefully, the likes of Rashford, Asensio, Marlon.
Definitely.
In terms of attacking wise, what we lacked the last time going forward, we've now got that. And hopefully by then we might have Pau Torres back and a couple of others, and we'll see how we are. But I do think we can beat them. It's going to be tough, but I think over 2 legs, that Villa Park leg is going to be
It's
crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
So what do
really
you
is.
think? Yeah, then the away game. The away game will be tough. But if we can get through that away leg, then we go to Villa Park. It's all to play for them.
Yeah, and I think that's crucial because Villa Park on these Champions League nights, as you know, because you've been to,
Oh, it's incredible.
to a couple, like it's electric. It sounds electric, and that really the players can really feed off that. So I think it's going to be. I think that's going to be very important. And also, let's not forget, we had the experience from the Conference League last year of, 2 legs. And, you think about Lille, and then you think about, I know Olympiacos, they got us in the end, but that's all experience.
It did us good.
And it's in the bank. Exactly. So I think, we have that as well. So I do think we're set and we're ready for Brugge. It's just now about the players taking on Emery's tactics and listening to his game plan and implementing that game plan and going from there.
That's maybe why. You go back to like Newcastle. Well, they struggled in Champions League. Because the season before, they had no experience. They just went straight into the Champions League.
Yeah, good point. And they also had a really tough group as well. And, they were lucky. Newcastle. They did well. They did really well in that group actually. But yeah, experience counts for everything. It really does. And I know people sort of laugh at the Conference League and sort of it's this B-Tech this B-Tech sort of, not even B-Tech, it's more like a C-Tech because you got Europa League before that. But I think for where we were at last season and where we were coming, I think Conference League was the perfect competition to sort of ground us and re-enter us into the world of European football. And there was no real pressure. And it was just nice to be in amongst it and get used to traveling away, get used to 2 legs and the hostile atmospheres that you experience. I think it's definitely stood us in good stead. So I completely agree with you, mate. I think that's a really good point. That's what Newcastle maybe didn't have. So yeah, I agree.
The big thing as well, that new format, that this season, that's made a big difference. I think it's really suited Aston Villa, the new format.
Yeah, massively. Teams like us, who in the old format would be expected to probably go out unless you were drawn
Just the
in.
group, that's it, the groups, that's it.
Yeah. Look, I love the new format, and I was very well. I wouldn't say I was skeptical. I wasn't really sure about it, and then because we've done so well, and not just us though, you got other teams that have done well. Like Brest were doing so well at one point. Lille, like the French teams were doing good, and
You helped Celtic.
Celtic almost got through into the last minute. It's or they were close to getting sort of an extra time, whatever it was. But yeah, I think it's been a breath of fresh air, and it's really made the competition a lot more exciting, especially the last couple of games of the group phase. It's like, who's going to be where? So I agree, mate. I think it's been a good change.
I think it'd be a great achievement. If we get into the quarterfinals,
amazing achievement.
I mean, I know if you get to the quarterfinals, there's a chance we could play Liverpool again.
I know.
If not, it's PSG.
It's Liverpool or PSG, isn't it? Yeah, I know. What's the rule with? I don't know if you know this. Obviously, if it was PSG, for example, and obviously we've got Asensio on loan, is it the same in the Champions League as the Premier League, where like loan players can't play against their parent club?
Is it not a bit like cup time? Is it a bit like that?
Maybe.
Time, yeah.
Maybe.
Possibly.
I don't know though, because Asensio and Rashford can play in the Champions League, and if Asensio's already played, then
was he registered? In PSG.
Oh,
Yeah.
for PSG. Good
Not in
question.
the Champions League. Okay.
That's a good question, actually. That's fair. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't.
Yes, who knows? Then we get to the quarterfinals. But I think PSG and Liverpool will be tough. I don't know what you think, but I actually would prefer PSG. I know they're both great teams, but at least with PSG. Emery managed PSG before.
Yeah, I just don't want. Yeah, and also, I agree with that. And also, I just think, we're in this competition to play against the best teams around the world. Like, when are we ever going to play PSG again? Unless it's like a friendly or something. Like, I feel like, it'd be good for the fans to go there, it'd be good experience. So I would rather PSG. And I also want to see what we're like against them. Liverpool, we sort of know where we're at, but PSG, it's just a cool fixture for us. So
That would be
I would
special.
I would rather PSG. So we'll see. We'll see. We've got to beat Club Brugge first, but I'm very intrigued to see who we get after that.
All right, then, so I'm going towards the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
What's your score prediction for this game?
Okay. Are you ready for this? I'm going to go for a really optimistic. I believe we're going to get a clean sheet. I don't know how. Maybe I'm being way too optimistic here. I'm going to go 3-0. Oof.
Oh, I'll take that now. I'll take that definitely.
What about you?
Well, I'm going for 2-1 Villa.
2-1. That's reasonable.
Well, Aaron, it's been great chatting to you again.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
Thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast, please remember to make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like button. Give it a share. And if you are listening via audio platforms, give us a good review on Spotify or Apple, wherever you find us. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much, Aaron, for your time.
Thank you, Chad. It's been a pleasure.
I'm going to wrap up this episode with Villa Forever and Up the Mighty Villa.